Back in 2010, I watched a TED Talk called How Great Leaders Inspire Action by Simon Sinek. Today, he's a household name, but back then, not so. His talk was so impactful to me that I took a piece of paper, wrote out his idea, and stuck it on the wall in my office. It changed the way I ran my business, and his message has inspired me till today. What's his idea? He says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do what you do. I'm going to share the link to his video below. He says it's the why behind the things we do that spring us into action. Welcome back to Torah in 10, Parshas Va'eschanan. I'm Jody Burkell, and this week, like every week, we bring Jewish wisdom to life for our life. I believe so many of us at some point in our lives ask the question, why am I here? What's my purpose? And do I even matter? Many people will say that there's no why to anything. We're here by accident, a happenstance. There's no authority or higher power guiding our lives. But Judaism says very strongly the opposite. Rabbi Sachs says this is made very clear in this week's Parsha. He says, there's so much in Judaism about what's allowed, what's not, what is sacred, what's secular. We learn so much about the how as well, how to learn, how to pray, how to grow in our relationship with God and others. But there is relatively little up to this point about why. This week, Moses inspires us about the why of Jewish existence. He tells the Israelites that what happened to them would eventually change and inspire the world. He says, has anything so great as this ever happened, or anything like it been heard of? Has any God ever tried to take for himself one nation out of another by miracles, signs, wonders, like all the things the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? He's telling us that Jewish history would remain unique. Looking back, it has been. Moses goes further to speak about national revelation at Mount Sinai, and then he says something that to me has been life-changing. He says, see, I have taught you decrees and laws that the Lord my God commanded me. Observe them carefully, for this is your wisdom and understanding in the eyes of the nations, who will hear about your decrees and say, surely this great nation is wise and an understanding people. The question is, why did Moses or God care whether or not our nation's laws were wise and understanding? What does the rest of the world have to do with anything? But the rest of the world does have something to do with it. Rabbi Sachs says Judaism was never meant for Jews alone. In his first words to Abraham, God already said, I will bless those that bless you, and those who curse you, I will curse. Through you, all the families of the earth will be blessed. Jews were meant to be a source of blessing to the world. One of my favorite quotes is found in Paul Johnson's book, A History of the Jews. As a Roman Catholic, he writes, certainly the world without Jews would have been a radically different place. Humanity might have eventually stumbled upon all the Jewish insights, but we cannot be sure. All the great conceptual discoveries of the human intellect seem obvious and inescapable once they have been revealed, but it requires a special genius to formulate them for the first time. The Jews had this gift. To them we owe the idea of equality before the law, both divine and human, of the sanctity of life and the dignity of human persons, of the individual conscience and of personal redemption, of collective conscience and of social responsibility, of peace as an abstract ideal and love as the foundation of justice, and many other items which constitute the basic moral furniture of the human mind. Without Jews, it might have been a much emptier place. Other nations, says Moses, would look at the Jews and sense that some larger power was at work in our history. This should never bring us to a place of arrogance, God forbid, but rather to humility, in knowing that what we have accomplished has been because God commanded us to bring Jewish values to the world for the betterment of the whole world. If you want to know more, I highly recommend Rabbi Ken Spiro's book, World Perfect, and the Gifts of the Jews by Thomas Cahill. God is the God of all humanity and therefore concerned with all humanity. So what we do as Jews makes a difference, not just in a spiritual sense, but by being an example of what it means to love and be loved by God. Rabbi Sacks teaches us we're not here to convert the world. We are here to inspire the world, to be God's ambassadors on earth. Or, as I like to say, we're here to make God look good by how we conduct ourselves, how we treat others, not just Jews, but everyone. We're here, as the prophet Micah says, to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly. In his last book, Morality, Rabbi Sacks writes, the world in its current state of turbulence needs the Jewish message more than ever. God calls on us to be true to our faith while being a blessing to others, regardless of their faith. Imagine a world in which everyone believed this. V'yaschanan is the mission statement of the Jewish people. It's our why. When you know your why, each one of us can become leaders in our homes and in communities and literally change the world. I am so in. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Shabbat Shalom.